Hi, welcome to another video. So, I have been covering Verdant quite a lot on this channel. You have seen me use it for parallel agents, work trees, the GLM-5 King mode combo, and a bunch of other stuff. If you have been watching, you already know that Verdant is genuinely one of the best AI coding agents out there for serious development work. But here's the thing. They have been shipping updates like crazy, and a lot has changed since I last covered it. Like, some of these new features actually change the way you think about AI coding as a whole. So, I wanted to do a proper deep dive on what is new and why I think a couple of these updates are honestly ahead of what anyone else is doing right now. So, let's get right into it. The biggest update is something called multi-model land, and this is not the same as the parallel agents I showed you before. With parallel agents, you were spinning up multiple tasks on the same codebase. Multi-model land is completely different. Here is the idea. Normally, when you use any AI coding tool, you pick a model, Claude, GPT, Gemini, whatever, and that model gives you one plan. If the plan is not great, you start over. You tweak the prompt, you try a different model, you burn 20 minutes before you have even written a single line of code. We have all been there. With multi-plan mode, you do not pick a model at all. You just tell Verdant what you want to build. And Verdant automatically calls in 3 top-tier models: Opus 4.6, GPT-5.4 codecs, and Gemini 3.1 Pro, and all 3 of them generate a plan for your task. But here is the part that actually makes this interesting. They do not just give you 3 separate answers and let you figure it out. The models actually cross-examine each other. They compare their approaches, debate the trade-offs, and converge on a unified plan. Think of it like a decision committee. 3 senior engineers in a room, each playing to their strengths, each challenging the other's assumptions. And what comes out the other end is a plan that has been stress-tested from multiple angles. This is pretty amazing, to be honest, because the biggest mistakes I see in AI coding come from blindly trusting one model's suggestion. Maybe Claude nails the architecture, but overlooks a performance edge case. Maybe Codex has the better reasoning path, but the implementation is slightly off. Multi-model land catches all of that because no single model goes unchallenged. Let me show you what this looks like. I have Verdant open here, and I'm going to ask it to plan out a feature, let's say, a real-time notification system with WebSockets and a queue. Now watch this. You can see each model comes back with its own approach. One prioritizes the message queue architecture, another focuses on the WebSocket connection handling, the third is thinking about failure recovery and retree logic. They weigh the trade-offs, compare notes, and then Verdant delivers a unified plan that takes the best ideas from all 3. You are basically getting a brainstorming session with 3 of the best models on the planet for the price of 1 prompt. So, this is great for sure. Now, the second big update is called Next Action. So, what Verdant has done with Next Action is basically they are doing the chasing for you. The engineers behind Verdant are constantly exploring new tools and techniques, testing them, filtering out the garbage, and turning the actually useful stuff into actionable steps. Then, they deliver those steps to you proactively, right when you need them in your workflow. And I want to be clear, this is not some spammy, you might also like recommendation. It is context-aware. It looks at what you are actually doing and gives you the right nudge at the right time. Let me give you some real examples of how this works. Say, you're about to merge a high-risk pull request, a dependency upgrade, an auth logic change, a database migration. Verdant detects that and might recommend generating a pre-deployment checklist with risk confirmation, rollback steps, and minimal validation test cases. That is the kind of thing a senior engineer on your team would remind you to do. Except now, it is built into the tool. I think that is quite great to see. Now, the third update is the skills market. You know I have talked about skills before. They are basically step-by-step instruction manuals that make your AI actually good at specific things, instead of being a jack of all trades. Every skill tells the AI when to activate, what order to follow, what to watch out for, and what done looks like. What is new is the skills market itself. Think of it like an app store for AI capabilities. You can browse skills that other developers have built, see which ones actually work, install them with one click, and even build your own. And it is all free. So, let's say you want your AI to follow a specific deployment checklist for your company. There is a skill for that. Want it to be really good at writing accessible React components? There is a skill for that. Want it to handle database migrations with proper rollback procedures? Skill for that. The community builds them. Verdant curates them. You just pick the ones you like and download them. Your money, your time, your energy. Keep all of it for what actually matters. And the cool part is that this ties directly into next action. Because when Verdant suggests a next step, it might point you to a specific skill that handles exactly that scenario. So, the whole system works together. Skills make the AI smarter, next action tells you when to use them, and multi-plan mode makes sure the overall plan is solid. It is a really cohesive workflow. Now, the last big update is the upgraded code review. I showed you code review before. It was using GPT-5, and it was already pretty solid. But they have taken it much further. Traditional AI code review, even the version I showed you last time, mostly just looks at the diff, the lines you changed. It is like staring at a few leaves and missing the whole tree. The new code review does not just look at your changes. It proactively traces which modules your code actually touches. It surfaces hidden risks and dependencies you might not have thought about. It thinks like a senior engineer who actually knows the full system, not just the file you edited. And here is where it gets really interesting. They have brought in multiple models for the review, each looking at your code from a different angle. So, you get a multi-perspective review that catches things a single model would miss. Plus, they have infused it with insights from real software engineers, giving the models a layer of engineering wisdom that makes the suggestions feel less like AI and more like a teammate. Let me run a review on a pull request I have here. You can see it is not just flagging the obvious stuff. It is tracing the impact across modules, identifying potential breaking changes in files I did not even modify, and suggesting specific fixes with reasoning for why they matter. From their benchmarks, this significantly outperforms Codex Connector in both precision and recall. It costs about 40% less in token usage, and it comes in at around 60 cents per PR. More accurate, more affordable, which is pretty good for sure. All right, so I have walked you through the features individually, but let me actually put it all together and build something so you can see how these updates work as a full workflow. I am going to build a personal finance tracker, a dashboard where you can log expenses, see spending breakdowns by category, and get a monthly summary chart. Nothing crazy, but enough moving parts to actually stress test these features. So, I open Verdant, point it at a fresh project folder, and the first thing I do is use multi-plan mode. I type in the full description of what I want, the expense logging, the category breakdown, the chart, all of it. And instead of one model giving me one plan, I get the 3-model committee working on it. Now watch this. You can see the plans coming in. One model is prioritizing the database schema and suggesting SQLite with specific table relationships. Another is thinking about the front end first and recommending a component architecture with a chart library. The third is focused on the data flow and suggesting a specific state management approach that keeps things simple. They cross-examine, they converge, and what I get is a plan that has the best database design from one, the cleanest component structure from another, and the most practical state management from the third. I could not have gotten this plan from any single model. That is just the reality of it. I approve the plan, switch to act mode, and let Verdant run. A few minutes later, the app is functional. I can log expenses, they save to the database, and I can see a list of them. Then, I add the chart component for the monthly spending breakdown. Once that is done, I run the new code review on the whole thing. And this is where it gets really cool. The review does not just check the code I wrote. It traces the data flow from the expense form all the way through to the chart rendering. It catches a potential issue where deleting an expense could leave the chart in a stale state because I was not invalidating the cached aggregation. A single model review would not have caught that. But with multiple models looking at it from different angles, one of them noticed the stale data path. I fix it, run the review again, and it comes back clean. The whole build, from planning to polished app with a thorough code review, took me maybe 15 minutes of actual interaction. And the code quality is genuinely better than if I had just prompted a single model and ran with whatever it gave me. That is what these updates feel like in practice. The features are not just independent checkboxes. They flow into each other and make the whole experience better. So, let me give you my honest take on all of this. I have been covering Verdant for a while now. I showed you the parallel agents, the work trees, the GLM-5 combo, all of it. And those features were already great. But these new updates feel like a different level. Multi-plan mode solves the biggest anxiety in AI coding, which is, did I pick the right model? You did not pick any model. 3 models picked for you and checked each other's work. Next action solves the FOMO problem. You do not need to spend hours researching what workflow to try next. Verdant hands you the best practices right when you need them. Skills Market makes the AI actually specialized instead of generic. And the upgraded code review catches things that no single model would find on its own. If you have been using Verdant, update and try these out. If you have not, you can check it out at verdant.ai. I will put the link in the description along with their guidebook for new users. I believe this is one of the most complete AI coding workflows I have seen. It is not just about making code faster. It is about removing all the stuff that gets in the way of you actually creating things. And that is what I think matters. Overall, it's pretty cool. Anyway, share your thoughts below and subscribe to the channel. You can also donate via Super Thanks option or join the channel as well and get some perks. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.